Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining us today. I'm Clarissa Bello, a proud member of the Latina Track Committee. It is a privilege to be your moderator for today's important conversation focused on celebrating Women's Entrepreneurship Day. Entrepreneurship represents more than building businesses. It is about creating opportunities, driving innovation, and shaping our own futures. For many Latinas, everyone, and thank you for joining us. For many Latinas, entrepreneurship is not just a career choice, it is an act of vision and resilience. Resilience. We are honored to be joined by a powerful group of Latina entrepreneurs and leaders whose journeys have been defined by determination, creativity, and courage. Their stories are not only inspiring, they are blueprints for possibility. They remind us that entrepreneurship is both a personal and collective journey, one that thrives on community, collaboration, and purpose. Before we begin, I want to express our sincere gratitude to Goya for sponsoring today's session. Your support ensures that spaces like this exist. Spaces where we amplify Latina voices, foster innovation, and provide the tools and connections needed to help our communities thrive. During our session, we'll explore strategies for entrepreneurship, entrepreneurial growth, discuss the challenges and successes that come with building a business, and share resources that uplift us to lead with vision and purpose. Together, we can build on an ecosystem where Latinas don't just start businesses, they scale them, sustain them, and redefine the future of entrepreneurship. With that, I am delighted to introduce the three outstanding entrepreneurs who will guide today's discussion. Our panelists are Angelique Sina, a social entrepreneur, three-time founder, and coffee farmer who leads Friends of Puerto Rico and expands economic opportunity for Hispanic communities through entrepreneurship. And let me tell you, her coffee line is just amazing. Her Seeds program empowers youth to build businesses and break cycles of poverty. A former World Bank Group professional and commissioner for the Latino community in Washington, D.C. She has also studied at Johns Hopkins University, Georgetown, and Stanford Business School. Welcome and thank you, Angelique, for joining us today. Our second speaker is Lilia Rios, a Mexican American entrepreneur and cultural ambassador. Lilia co-founded La Providencia, a leading distributor of Mexican artisanal products in the U.S., and founded Nuku, Healing Boutique Resort in the Riviera Maya, known for blending Mayan tradition with modern hospitality. Lilia serves on advisory council supporting entrepreneurship and cultural representation and has been recognized as a top Hispanic business leader, included in New Jersey's Power List and honored with the President's Award from President López Obrador. Bienvenida, Lilia, and thank you for being with us today. And now I would like to highlight our next speaker for today, Randy Gomez, founder and CEO of Spark Labs. Randy is an award-winning strategist and educator who helps entrepreneurs harness AI, automation, and modern productivity tools. She also leads corporate learnings partnerships at Berkeley College, NYC, and serves as the president of Prospanica, New Jersey, championing Latino professionals and economic mobility. With advanced training and certifications in AI, Randy has collaborated with organizations like Salesforce, MasterCard, and Google to bring cutting-edge, accessible tech education to diverse communities. Through the AI Business Academy, she equips business owners with practical tools to streamline operations, scale smarter, and confidently step into the future of work. Thank you, Randy, for your presence and for joining us today. And by the way, Randy is also a Latina Track Committee member. So welcome, Randy. I'm so excited to spend the next hour with these powerhouse of Latinas, leaders, innovators, and trailblazers who are actively reshaping what's possible for Latinas entrepreneurs. Their journeys are bold, their impact is real, and their commitment to lifting our community is nothing short of inspiring. Now, let's jump right in and start with our first question. But before we do start, I want to encourage each and one of you to get ready to write down your questions. Tell us where you are connecting from. Let us have an engaging comment area where we are going to be listening to your questions. Write them down, please. I want you to engage. Tell us where you're connecting from, and just share about why it is important for us to continue to have these important conversations that we are bringing to you today. So, where are my ladies here? Hey, you can unmute yourself. And I want to thank you for the incredible uh, work trajectory that you have been able to accomplish. Each and one of you guys are inspiring. It's short of inspiring, Latinas. You have paved the way to where you are today. And let's just have a candid conversations of this incredible journey that you have been able to reach to today. So without further ado, let's jump right in. So please do feel free to answer and unmute yourself. The first question would be, can you share a little bit about your journey, how you started your business, and what inspired you to become an entrepreneur? So please do share that with us.
Hi, I'm going to start. My name is Lilia Rios, and it's a pleasure for me to be here today. It's the first time ever that I get invited to Prospanica, so I was very excited when you guys reached out to me. But for those of you who don't know me, my name is Lilia Rios, and I'm Mexican American. And my journey started when I was 17 years old. I began my first venture. It was a sushi. I had 6 months before entering law school. And back then in my hometown in Mexico, in Tamazula de Gordiano, there was no sushi restaurants. So I decided to learn how to do sushis. And then I began my distribution of sushis throughout supermarkets and little bodegas. Later on, 2 years later, when I was studying law, I opened my second business, which was a beauty supply distribution. And then after 2 years, before when I actually got engaged, I sold the business. That was the first time when I sold my business. And I got married, and then everything changed when I moved to the US with my husband. We came to this country to open a business. It's very particular because what we do is we are manufacturers and distributors, wholesale and retail of Mexican arts craft. So it's complicated to sell these kind of products. Back then, I'm talking about 2005, 20 years ago, when there was no social media, so the distribution was very difficult. We managed to create a bridge that allow us to bring traditional products and bring into the US market and create a path with dignity and structure and create a consistent income for those artisans. At this point, we work with more than 500 artisan families through 17 states in Mexico, and we cover 22 states of the United States. And our major customers are Mexicans living in the US and now second and third generation of Mexican Americans. So we're very proud of, to do this journey and call myself, businesswoman and also entrepreneur.
Angelique, take it away.
Yes, so I'd like to say that I feel I was born an entrepreneur because I started being a Girl Scout. And as you know, that is, I think, one of the very first stages, if you've been engaged or introduced to the program, that you're actively speaking and promoting and making sales. However, my parents do have a small business, and that's how I think I was first introduced to the lifestyle of what being an entrepreneur is. And fast forward to now, to my 37 years old, I have to say that I feel super proud to have founded three ventures and at age 25 to feel that I really just did my first legal incorporation of what is Friends of Puerto Rico, a nonprofit that I lead. So I think my journey is really tied to definitely, I'm very passionate of making change in my community and also uniting that to things that I love, which in this case are wine and spirits and coffee. So those two things are two of my businesses, and also my heart is just in the work that we do at the community level in our business centers across the work that we do at Friends of Puerto Rico, whether if it's in DC or in Puerto Rico where I'm from. And it just brings me a lot of joy to be able to not only serve my community and also tie it to things that I love. And I think that's the most beautiful thing about being an entrepreneur is that you can really blend what you love, what you're good at, and make a life out of it.
Amazing. Thank you all. And I'm so excited to be here. And I did some research on the panelists. You guys are incredible superstars. So it is definitely an honor to share the stage with all of you. My name is Randy Gomez, and I am the founder of Sparks Labs, which is a new technology lab. What we do is impact programming on a global scale. So we partner with tech companies and also nonprofits to do activations and also programming to upskill organizations. So in this digital world that we live in, as you can imagine, we are extremely busy and excited to be partnering with different communities. I was just on a panel with Inspírame Latina, and they are looking to offer this programming to their community very soon. But a little bit about my journey. I actually started my first business when I was only about 14 years old. Um, I started doing hair as a pain point that we had in our household. My little sister has big, curly, beautiful hair. And it was always a challenge in the morning to do her hair before school. And so I started practicing on her head, braiding, and doing different styles. And then quickly enough, J-Lo came out with the braids. We all know J-Lo blew up the braids in our community and other folks that were wearing braids at that time, and started rented a space in a salon, and started having my own clients and got that taste of freedom, right? Because when you have your business and you're creating and supporting in your community, you have that freedom that comes along with it. I always feel that, being an entrepreneur is the closest thing to creating magic, because you have an idea in your mind, something that does not exist, right? You have to sell it to others to believe in this idea of yours. And you take this idea from your mind and you bring it out to the world, to the physical world. And if that's not magic, I don't know what is, all right? And so, that was definitely the beginning of entrepreneurship and having that taste of having my own business, bringing those ideas to life, and also impacting those around me. So I'm really excited to be on this panel and just sharing that journey with everyone who's joining us this evening.
Yes, I think that we could totally attest to having the freedom, no? And let me tell you, I know that sometimes it could get tough, right? Being an entrepreneur, but thinking of that freedom kind of keeps me going to even fight um, stronger every day to be able to accomplish what our goals are. And share with us what tools, platforms, or resources have been game changers in helping you manage or grow your business. We all know that is always the challenge for continuing to grow our business. So please share whoever would like to start first.
I can start. I think that for me, at least it goes back to basics. There's only so much information that you can hold on your mind. So definitely, I always recommend having a physical notebook, but really a digital notebook. You need to be able to write things down, not only your ideas, but connecting people. Names are super important because it is really a relationship business, as most of us know. And having the right information at the right place to be able to unlock it when you need it will be essential. Because as we grow and we age, we really tend to confuse and forget things. And I always like to say that we need to set time aside to read or listen, right? The audiobooks are now something that definitely using more of. And I like to say that you need that song to kind of decompress. You need to have that song that will keep you in a good state of mind because there will be stressful days. So my list of tools are really basic, yet they have definitely helped me shape my entrepreneurship journey.
That is amazing. There's nothing like pen and paper, right? Like back to basics, it's a solid foundation. For me, I definitely use a couple of different tools that support me with my day to day. But one tool that I would say has been an absolute game changer for me, and I should be sponsored by them at this point, the way that they share it with the world is Motion. So a few months ago, I really wanted to solve this very real pain point that I had where I had this beautiful planner where I would every week write down my to-do list. And of course, I would never get through all of my to-do list. So I would transfer that to-do list to another week. And so I started investigating what is a tool that will automatically not only transfer this to-do list weekly, but will also block time in my schedule to ensure that I'm meeting these tasks and completing these items by their deadline. And so Motion has really given me the mental space to now offload all these to-do lists, with life, being a mother of two teenagers, wife, daughter, volunteering at Prospanica and with my business, and offload all of that from my brain and put it into an application that will figure out my schedule, take a look at my multiple calendars and say, Randy, you have 30 minutes right here. This is all you can do, but girl, we're going to do it. We're going to do those 30 minutes and we're going to accomplish a portion of this task this week and then move over the rest of the tasks to a following week. So just on a tactical perspective, you hear of folks losing sleep because they have so many things running through their brains, right? So I really needed that digital tool to support me with all of that. And I'm a very big believer of pen to paper and just, keeping that on paper that you can refer back to, in addition to, electrical tools or digital tools that can really help you enhance your experience. Because at the end of the day, we don't always carry our notebook with us, but we have our phones with us everywhere. So if something pops up in your brain, you can just download it into that application to support you with day to day. Thank you for that question. Motion, reach out to me for sponsorship. Thank you.
Well, in my case, since we do the whole supply chain, so we just we're not just limited to being the manufacturers. We are also in charge about design, manufacturing, export, import, storage, distribution, wholesale, retail. So it's a lot. So for us, like talking about this, the perspective of becoming an entrepreneur and a business owner, I will recommend to everyone who's just started their business to start using technology since the beginning. Um, I can tell you that we've been in business 20 years, and every time that we are trying to accomplish something different, like include new technology for the business that has been running for 20 years, is extremely complicated because as your operations continue to grow, it's complicated to begin with new including technology. So my recommendation will be to start when you are like thinking about creating something, use or back yourself with technology. Like I also use pen and paper. I always use notes. Notes is probably my favorite thing. I always use notes in my phone. I take notes for everything, even for the things that I know that I won't remember. I also do to do. I have an app which is to do, and my to do is it gives me guidance throughout the day, because I know that I cannot rely on my mind. I'm going to forget. Probably by noon, I'm going to forget everything that I am supposed to do. And ChatGPT has been a life changer for me, because like in the way that I do business, I am always looking for answers. When you're an entrepreneur, you're always thinking, you are a dreamer. Randy mentioned that we're always creating things, but in order for you to create something, you have to dream it. So I consider myself that I am a dreamer, and before I am an entrepreneur, because I have to dream about it. I get super excited, and when I get excited, I always use the studio. So I'm always creating logos. I can't even remember how many logos have I created. And I'm using Studio, to create this, the logos or advertisement for my company, because we also have to be in charge about social media. We have to be on top of everything, making sure that, that the company, it's following the correct path through, trying to connect with second and third generation. So I'll say that, definitely to do. Studio ChatGPT has been a life changer for me. And there's one more for social media which I recommend, which is Templify. It makes it so easy, especially when you have to create like 30 seconds reel. It's amazing. So that will be my suggestions for people trying to get on top of everything.
Thank you for sharing that. I could totally attest to in terms of writing it down. I'm a writer, and I think that we are all visionaries. So we are constantly creating, thinking. Our heads are constantly spinning in a good way. And the to-do list and writing it down, and also utilizing the Excel. No, I know that someone had recommended me a platform that keeps everyone with. I'll share afterwards with you all to keep us intact with our projects based on the next, especially for you, Lydia, that constantly have so many brands that you're representing throughout 17 and the 22 states that you also provide services to. Thank you for sharing that. I understand that being an entrepreneur could be a little bit challenging at times, and mentorship and community are so important. How do you support other Latinas or minority entrepreneurs within your network?
So I'm gonna go first then. Angelique, go ahead. Go ahead, Angelique.
Thank you, Lilia. Well, I actively do that every day because it's really part of my work, and I absolutely love that's the most beautiful thing about being an entrepreneur. And I actively mentor a lot of young girls that are either at school and here in Puerto Rico that they are just looking for answers, and a lot of times just are in a confusing stage of what they want to do with their lives. And also, I do a lot of mentoring for aspiring entrepreneurs or business owners. And a lot of times it's like we really can't see ourselves within our community. It's really about visioning and providing that confidence that yes, that if they plan and if they work hard enough, all of their dreams can really come true. I think like for all of us on this virtual panel. And I feel super motivated to have the opportunity to do that because it's really what drives me. So I feel super blessed to have those opportunities to, I don't call it giving back, but it's really feeling useful in most occasions.
So for me, as you mentioned before, Floriser, I am I am on the board of statewide Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, which happens to be your friends as well. They do amazing job with the Hispanic community here in New Jersey. And since I met him like many years ago, they invited me to join the board in 2019. And since then, everything has changed for me because I've been exploring these new ideas about how come we can be 250,000 Mexicans living in New Jersey, but there is no, Mexican female that will, um, try to bring the flag and said like here, like we are here to stay. We are entrepreneurs, we're business owners, and we are guiding the new generation. Um, with education and reminding them that we didn't come to here just to work as as basic laborers. We can do much better than that. So the fact that I've been in contact with most of my customers throughout La Providencia as well, I have reached a lot of people throughout the state. We cover 5 states here and with the distribution center in Jersey. And we recently founded the American Mexican Regional Chamber of Commerce. With my husband is the president, and I am an advisor to them. And they are supporting, how the Mexican community is growing, how we can cross borders through trade pathways, and being as a woman and leading the businesses that include or have soul and identity, structure, and financial intention. I think it has been a blessing for me. I'm also on the board of two universities, so I am an advisor to NJCU and former advisor to William Patterson. So for me, the fact that I see more Mexicans or Mexican descendants, second and third generation, coming as a first time attending university, for me is it's amazing. We have to keep encouraging our second generation, to become more than what the parents are. We need to keep pushing them to be better and better and to do and have representation, because at the end, I think when we open doors or share our networks or create spaces for representations, when one Latina advances, we'll do, So I take pride of doing what I do, and I can't wait to continue doing more when with the time that I have.
Amazing. Oh my God, Lilia, how do you have so much? Do you have more than 24 hours in a day with all of the things that you're doing? I love to hear that. And no, seriously, it's so important because, we say, you hear sometimes folks saying, well, I don't have time to do that. I don't have time to mentor. We make time for the things that we find important, right? And so even as business owners, we know how important it is to mentor the next generation of entrepreneurs, specifically in our community, because mentorship is a two-way street. And Flery also has an incredible program where she mentors Latinas in our community, and she knows firsthand how rewarding it is not only to see your mentee grow within that process, but also see how you are growing as a mentor, right? Because there's nothing more rewarding than seeing your mentee in the same spaces that you are, or being invited to speak on a panel after you have poured your time and dedicated resources to ensuring that you're supporting them with their success. I do serve on the Prospanica New Jersey chapter as the president. I'm coming to the end of my term. So we're going to be onboarding an incredible president starting 2026. And that experience has been transformational for me, working with university chapters, with the students and the next generation of Hispanic leaders. But again, it's a two-way street. So it has also helped me develop professionally. And it has supported me in scaling my business to, heights that I didn't think were possible before meeting with so many incredible Latino professionals that just allowed me to unlock that mentality of what is possible, right? So again, two-way street where you're mentoring, but at the same time, you're also pouring into yourself and your professional development. In addition to that, I do serve on the board of the International Association of Women, and I'm a part of Latinas in Tech, which is another national organization, and Tequeria, who is now a part of Prospanica as well. So, I love to see just how we're moving together as a community to expand our reach, and the impact that mentorship has overall in, like I said, the next generation of Latino professionals. So really excited, to expand on this question and really ensure that the audience understands the impact. And I'll leave it with just one final thought, that some folks feel like, well, I'm not in a point in my career where I can mentor someone else. I'm not advanced enough. I don't have enough years doing what I'm doing. I'm not professional enough. You will never know how much of an impact you can be to someone else until you get started. If you are a college student mentoring a student in high school, right? If you are a brand new entrepreneur mentoring someone who has an idea and is thinking about getting started, you're ahead of people. Period. Right? No matter where you are right now, you are one step ahead of someone who's just getting started. So find that person and you will see that you will grow as an individual and you will also be supporting someone else in their journey.
Thank you so much, Randy, for opening that up. And before, I believe, Angelique, you have to answer the question, or did you go yet? But I want to kind of ask each and one of you, mentoring as an entrepreneur can, being in this journey of an entrepreneur could be challenging. Can you share who was your mentor, or did you seek mentorship or sponsorship to be able to grow your business or to grow as a professional? So if you haven't answered yet, please do answer that question as well as the second question.
Yeah, so I definitely have done both. I started my career working at the World Bank Group, and that's a very competitive corporate world. So I did have informal mentors, and I remember reaching out to one of our vice presidents. She was like the only woman that was a vice president, and I was like, I think I was like 25 or 26-year old, which is not normal to be working to have the role that I had then. And I specifically asked for sponsorship. And I think that one of my first mentors was when I served on a board of Prospanica in the Washington, D.C. chapter. So I think that it shaped me so much to be a Prospanica member when I first was starting off my career, and then having the opportunity to serve on my first board was the chapter of DC in Prospanica, which was Nashimba back then. And I take those learnings very, very highly because still people that served on that board, which I'm sure many of you that are connected with Prospanica know, Jimmy Ortiz and Sandra from DC, they were one of my first mentors, and they still continue to be people that I ask advice to. So that's the power of mentorship and sponsorship. And the sponsorship at that time worked for me because she was extremely busy, this vice president, but she helped me understand what I wanted to do with my professional journey. And it turned out that I did not want to retire from the World Bank. I wanted to be an entrepreneur. So a couple of years later, I did do that. But mentorship, as Randy said, it's a two-way avenue. And I think most of all, you can't do when you are a mentor, which I think I now serve that role more actively. You can not only think of yourself, you have to think of how can this person really understand what they want to do and what do they need. A lot of times it's listening, but sometimes it's suggesting, right? And opening doors. I think the most powerful thing that probably most of us that are in this session today is we're constantly opening doors for others. And I think that's really the transformative aspect of how we reach that upward economic mobility that a lot of us are looking for, especially those that have decided to open a business or start a new venture.
Thank you for sharing that, because there's a big difference, and not everyone who we think it could be a mentor, it's fit to be a mentor and end up being more fitted to be a sponsor. And I think those uh, being able to discern who is best for what, and they don't really need to know, right? No mentor needs to know that they're a mentor unless we make it vocal. But because and you can all attest, we have mentors that they don't know, and we see them as mentor, and we see them and they help and they see the vision. And I think that as an entrepreneur, you see who is ready for the next step. So that's when you say, okay, this person is ready, and automatically I know that I do this a lot. I just opened the door. I said, okay, this person is ready for this. Boom. And the opportunity just comes about. So thank you for sharing that, because that's very vital in terms of distinguishing who is the best mentor or the sponsor that can help us grow our businesses. Lilia, please.
Well, I did. I want to share this because it's important. Um, you think that you're an entrepreneur, but you really know the only thing that you know is that you want to do something. You want to achieve. You have that power. That is needed to create something, but you need resources and you need a great networking that can help you get there faster. If I go back in time 20 years ago, I'll do my business like within a year. It took me 20 years to pretty much have my company the way that I wanted it to be. So that is just experience, that's learning. So I think when you find the right people like or right mentors to guide you through the process, it's way faster and way better, and it gives you more confidence because you know what you're doing. So I want to go back in time, and 2014 my husband and I we did an EPI, which is Entrepreneurship Pioneer Initiative from Rutgers University. I don't remember paying anything. Honestly, I think it was for free. And that was the beginning of it. That was actually the beginning of knowing what we were doing in business after we started in 2005. And we it took us that many years to go to school and actually learn like what is it about, to the reality about, having a business in the US. And then in 2019, I did the LATS, which it just recently changed the name. Now it's a Level Up from the Statewide Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. That is a program dedicated for women. As female in business, they have to be at least 2 years. And we had great mentors. One of them was my actual CFO. I kept her. She was my mentor there, and she was great. I spoke to my husband and I said, like, listen, I just found the right CFO for our business, and I know that she's going to do great for our company. She's going to, guide us there. And also, like throughout the chambers, like we have found the right person. It's not the people that can come and tell you what exactly you want to hear. It's actually the people that will tell you how to fix things, and that is not usually what you want to hear, or sometimes it's out of your budget. When you're growing a business, budget is always an issue. So but when you find the right guidance, the right mentors, they will put you through. And yes, it's going to be difficult. You're going to have to sacrifice, but at the end I think it's worth it. So like I started like growing as a business owner and entrepreneur, and now I'm giving back to my community, throughout the statewide Hispanic and the American Mexican, and also the two universities that I advise. Trying to make sure that the next generation know that it's okay to fail. It's okay to make mistakes, and you have to go through that path in order for you to realize that you're doing good. You have to value what you have, and nobody knows what you have until you actually make it. So it's I think at the end the commitment is to mentorship is rooted in witnessing how opportunity can change generational outcomes.
Yeah, I totally agree. Thank you for sharing that. I'm gonna ask one question. I'm going off script here, but I think it's important to share as a Latina and a woman entrepreneur, what has been one of the barriers that you faced, and how were you able to propel and come through it? And please go ahead.
Mhm. I definitely want to jump in here and just shout out one of my mentors, which is one of the founding members of Entre Amigas, Miss Beth Marmolejos, now Mencini. She's an incredible human being, and she has definitely poured into myself, and I've seen the great work that she's done with a lot others. So wanted to give her a shout out. And, throughout our journey, I know we've been on this planet for some years, all of us on this call. So we've had a few different people that have really either been official mentors, like Freddy mentioned, where you give them that, label of a mentor, and you have regular calls, or unofficial mentors, right? I mean, from our, birth, who's the first mentor that we work with? It's our mother, right? It's our parents, who are guiding us, and we don't label them mentors, but they are definitely guiding us through every step of decision making and the growth and the things that we are doing in our day to day. But I will say, we're very fortunate to be a part of a community like Prospanica, where you are surrounded by so many folks that are eager to support you in your journey. And that's one thing that I would encourage everyone, right? To find that community that you can be a part of, not just to extract value, but also to give back value with taking someone under your wing. And specifically for this generation, I would say, there's a such thing as reverse mentorship, right? There's a lot happening right now with technology. You can tap into younger individual who can mentor you through that to transitioning and utilizing tools that can support you with your business or keeping up to speed with all of the social media trends and how that will impact your business. So there's such thing as reverse mentorship as well, where the younger or more junior professional can support you with these transitional periods when it comes to technology or other things in general. But Fleddy, to answer your question, oh my gosh, which one, right? There's so many challenges that we face in this world in general, that, right off the top of my head, I think one of the things that had the biggest impact that really kind of nudged me into the right direction of entrepreneurship is being told no, that I cannot do something, or I don't have the permission to do this, one thing that I'm passionate and excited to do. And the universe has a funny way of pushing you in the right direction, right? When a door closes, you think it's a door closed, but in reality, it is the opening of a new one that really redirects you in the direction that you should have been going in the first place, right? And being in tune with that when things become challenging beyond the point where you're losing motivation, is it something that you should fight against, or is it something that you should lean in and ask yourself, is this direction the right direction, right? Sometimes it's not, what we're doing, it's are we on the right boat, right? To lead me to that final destination. And so it's really important, when you get those signals, to be in tune with them so you can redirect yourself and put your energy in a space where you are appreciated, not tolerated. So, just having that experience of saying, listen, I want to be promoted. I want to move on into this next role, and saying, no, you're not ready. This position is not available for you. And saying, okay, no problem. Well, I'm going to go ahead and create my own table and moving on with that.
Thank you for sharing that. That is normally what we got. And then we pivot con coraje y más fuerza.
Exactly. I love it. One quick thought I wanted to share about mentorship, and Letty, I'll swear I'll answer your question, is that similar to Lily, I have done this leadership and entrepreneurship programs. And I remember one time going asking for the mentorship list, and I wanted to look at the list, and I'm like, oh no, this is the mentor that I want. Like, I'm not just gonna get whatever mentor I'm assigned. I definitely want to have this mentor. And it really shaped me. It was Lily Hill. And I begged like just to like have as much time with her as I wanted, because it's somebody that I look up to, and she's also a very successful Latina. And I just go back to that. So sometimes we just have to do the research and specifically ask for what we want. So barriers, so many. Um, Before ChatGPT, I would get a lot of comments of like, what do you know about that? And yes, I didn't know about a lot of things. I remember when I wanted to start my coffee line, and I really didn't know anything but consume coffee. So I definitely, and I still feel that I don't know enough about coffee, but I have learned to feel comfortable. It doesn't matter that I don't need to know 100% of the process. I feel comfortable that I can lead and make sales and understand or create a venture that will be successful with failures, of course, because nothing is perfect. But I think one of the barriers is that, yes, you're Latina, we're young, we're ambitious, what do you know about that? Well, it turns out I don't need to know a whole lot about it. I know I have skills now that will allow me to be successful. And now our coffee line is 6 years old. It'll be soon 7. And we're preparing purposeful, powerful coffee lines from Puerto Rico. So I feel really happy that I've turned a barrier into now a skill set that makes me feel more comfortable as a business owner.
Thank you for sharing that. And Aroma Coffee, by the way, it's the best. And not because it's Angelique's and I love her, but it's because I love strong coffee. And Angelique, your coffee woke me up at Somo. So thank you.
Pleasure.
I guess for me, my biggest challenge has been to wait for the right moment at the right time and everything to be perfect. I'm a perfectionist. So my advice will be don't wait, start imperfect, but start with purpose. Always find a purpose. Don't wait to feel ready and don't wait for approval because that was me all the time. Always waiting for approval, waiting to be ready. And I was literally ready, but I just needed that push. And when you're an entrepreneur, you're always, waiting for the right time. That doesn't exist. It will never gonna come. It's never gonna happen if you are waiting for the right moment. So don't wait for the resources that you think you need. Begin with clarity. Who do you serve? Who you serve? Why you serve? And what transformation you offer. Many years ago, 3 years ago, when I completed my MBA, I went to Stanford, and I just got this thing in my mind that it was like here I couldn't take it off when I hear what they said. You have to you have to create a new category. How are you going to change the world? That is only for this many people in the entire world. So if we are all thinking that we're going to change the world and if we how we're going to create a new category, we're not going to do anything. And honestly, the money is within the basic stuff. We have right now with data is showing that real jobs like electricians, plumber, construction, all these things that are used to be very basic. That's where where the money is going. That's where the wealthy, the wealth is. So going back to our roots will give us the opportunity to create new things. That's what we've been doing for 20 years, going back to our roots, bringing products like molcajetes that we supply. 20 years ago, molcajetes, the piece of stone that when you go to a Mexican restaurant and they serve you the guacamole. Back then, 20 years ago, you used to find them on the streets, like on a market, all dusty, and maybe you will consider that the molcajetes were only for museum. Now we can say the molcajetes are they're the king for the Super Bowl because there is no guacamole without a molcajete. So when you find a niche that can bring you to the spotlight with something something very old, but at the same time something trendy, you can find a right opportunity. So I'll say that, whether in business, government, or community, um, when you move with intention, your purpose attracts and discipline builds. That's a problem always with me. I don't have discipline. So I'm trying to build up my discipline because action can create results. But if you don't have discipline, you're not going to get anywhere.
Thank you for hitting it right on. And you said so many things that I'm trying to like remember. So, Angelique, Lily Joe, when I launched Bellas Foundation, first it was Bellas Fashion Blog. It was in 2014, and I had this thought, Lilia, that you said you have a passion, you have a purpose, you see a void. For me, creating a an opportunity for the void has led me to where I am today. And the first person that I reach out to, because I've known Lily for so many years. I met Lily, I think it was in 2010, and she is a powerhouse. And I look up to her as well. And she was the first one I called that saw the vision of Bellas Fashionistas fashion blog. And then I told her everything else. And when I saw her recently at the We Are Human gala, next to two other of my mentors, I said to her, Lily was the first one I reached out to kind of like give me that feedback. And she did. I think that to your point, Lydia, when you see an opportunity, you have to maximize it there's always an audience that we need to be serving when we become an entrepreneur or have that purpose and that driven passion. And I said to my mom is a physician retired now, and I said to her, out of all the things that I see that I admired in you as my mentor, I am lacking one of them, and that's discipline. Because without discipline, and we're very hard on ourselves. So let's be frank and honest. We are hard on ourselves. We have reached so much that we need to continue to get better, and that's the beauty of it. We recognize our flaws, but we want to work better and become better. And that, as an entrepreneur, it's so vital to continue to persist and maintain and to excel in what we do. I just wanted to mention that because it's so important. We have 3 questions. We have 10 minutes. So we have 2 other questions that I'm going to summarize 2 in 1. I know, Lilia, you had already mentioned about advice and you started with it. There's one more question that I'm going to be able to summarize into one, and I want you guys to be able to provide this very quickly. So, one answer, and thank you for highlighting those aspects of the challenges faced that do help us. As a Latina entrepreneur, one of the biggest, we are the fastest growing, yes, but we are the ones that face so many challenges and barriers, and that is the opportunity for them to believe in us, no, and then for them to fund us. So, and this is going to lead to one of the questions that was asked on the chat. But to resume 2 questions, where do you see opportunities for Latino entrepreneurs in the next 5 to 10 years? However, the other one is, what action piece of advice do you have for the audience to scale their business? So go ahead. One short answer.
So the opportunity I see is, and I hope is that more Latinos can be in the C-suite because we desperately need them, and more women leading multi-million dollar businesses, which we definitely need more of. And then scalability is something that I do speak a lot about. And when I first get someone in our business centers, because we have a women's business center that receives a lot of people wanting to start a venture, is like, do you feel that this can be $1 million business? Why? Because we want to make sure that all the effort goes into something that is scalable. And I started my scaling journey when I applied for the Stanford Latino Business Scaling Program. So there is a program that exists specifically for Latinos. I don't know, Lilia, if you've done it, but it's definitely focused on that. So that is something that I always ask, whatever you decide to do, is it scalable? Can it reach over $1 million? And then you have to seek that network, whether if it's this program or a coach or a mentor that can help you scale and grow the business, because that's what we need, more Latinos and Latinas leading these powerful businesses and creating economic impact.
Yeah, I definitely want to echo what Angelique mentioned as far as scalability. And for me, because what we do is a lot of, supporting businesses with integrating technology, emerging technology specifically. I would say that for our community, we are witnessing, the fourth industrial revolution when it comes to AI. And so I always encourage businesses to really lean in into how they can utilize this technology to leverage their scalability, right? Because at the end of the day, what this technology does for us is allow us to gain back time that we can now, in turn invest in more impactful items within our business. The day-to-day that moves the needle towards the right direction, whether that's, engaging with more business partners, scaling with additional clients, or expanding your footprint as to where you're or where you're offering your services or your products. It's extremely important for us to leverage the technology to do that. Nowadays, a brand new entrepreneur can utilize the technology to play the role of, 2 or 3 different organizations, right? Whether that's with marketing, with accounting, or with, product development. So leaning into the use of this emerging technology, identifying where it can have the impact, not to replace the human being, but to enhance their productivity and their output, right? Because at the end of the day, the business of business is a business of people. And so when you remove the people component to it, then you lose the entire essence of who you are solving a problem for. You're solving a problem for other humans, not, robots and computers. So I do, again, encourage folks to lean in into the technology and really upskill yourself and your team to utilize the technology to support you with what Angelique said, which is scalability and also impact.
Well, Latinos Donor Collaborative has been showing us amazing numbers. Data, it's out of this world. If you're not a Latino, I'm pretty sure that there's other communities that are concerned about the Latino community, how we're growing, what are the numbers in terms of, power. So I believe that the next 5 to 10 years will hold extraordinary potential for Latino entrepreneurs. Cultural commerce will accelerate Latino identity. It is going to become a central force for the American markets. I'm talking about in specific my products because that's what I do for a living, but I can see the potential how Mexican brands or Latino brands are thriving. They're accelerating, like potentially accelerating, these years. So AI, technology, digital automation will level the playing field for those who adopt them early. So I think that we have to educate in terms of, technology. We have to keep up with that. Platforms rooted in community will thrive because Latinos trust connection. We are not just consumers. We are market creators and cultural innovators. So we are one voice. So I guess at this point, like for example, in Mexico, cross-border trade between Mexico and Latin America, we just came back from it was with the governor of New Jersey. We went for a trade mission in to Mexico. So the potential market it's huge. We have to start looking into possibilities. So, I'll say that we are not going to be replaced the intelligence, artificial intelligence. We're going to be replaced for the people who actually going to learn how to use it.
Thank you so much for sharing that. I just want to be able to answer one question. And I know that we have 3 minutes. So if one of you can answer, and then the rest will be able to provide that via email. I wanted to ensure that we close out as of at 8 o'clock if our Lorena allows us to do that. One of the questions that stood out the most was what I think, how do you break down the silos that are built due to scarcity mindset in the Latino community? That it's one. And please share that with us.
Un chancletazo. No, all jokes aside, it's you also have to understand our history, right? Like we migrated to another country. Right. I mean, right now I'm joining you all live from the Dominican Republic, where I was born, and then migrated to the States at a young age. And so I think, we've mentioned this a few times, but the number one thing behind solving and really not repeating history is education. It's so vital. It's so vital for us to take ownership of our history and understand why we are the way that we are. Because once we understand, then we create awareness and then we can do better, right? So understanding is really key. And right now, with all of the resources that we have, we are able to simply go on to YouTube University and do our research and learn about our history and what has influenced those characteristics. And then just as a tactic, I think what's really important is exactly what we're doing today, which is getting on panels and having these hard conversations so we can put it on the table. Like, yeah, we do tend to have a gatekeeping mentality, a scarcity mentality where if I take, you have less, where in reality, if we share, we all have more. And that's the mentality that we need to shift into this economy. And again, education, Lilia and Angelique mentioned the numbers. The numbers don't lie. We are definitely a community that's thriving and is growing. And we are the majority, but we do not have the majority voice. And that's something that has to change as soon as possible. And it will only change if we gather and we unite and we work together as one.
Thank you so much for saying that. And I could not agree more with you. I want to thank each and one of you for joining us. If you would like to connect with Angelique Sina and Lilia Rios and our dearest Randy Gomez, please follow them on LinkedIn, where they can be able to be reached. And if you have any questions for them, please do so. Feel free to ask them as well. Thank you so much to our incredible speakers for sharing their journey and experiences as we celebrate entrepreneurship. Now, I would like to turn it over to our audience for any questions that they would like to ask. And we did that. I apologize. I'm reading all this here. Today's discussion has been truly inspiring. Ladies, thank you so much. Showcasing the power stories of Latinas who are breaking barriers, leading with vision, and paving the way for future generations of entrepreneurs. Celebrating Women's Entrepreneurship Day reminds us of the impact we can make when we support, uplift, and learn from one another. And don't forget, save the date on December 17. We'll continue to the conversation with our upcoming webinar for National Women Support Women Day, another chance to connect, share, and amplify our collective impact. Stay tuned for details. Thank you for joining us. Keep building, keep inspiring, keep building, keep shining, keep inspiring. Until next time, I do welcome you to please scan the registration code if you would like to join us on December 17th. For now, I wish you a wonderful night. Thank you for connecting with us. God bless you all and have a great one. Ciao.